This video contains spoilers about the whole game of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Please enjoy. Many people know that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is my favorite game on the Nintendo Switch, purely because of the story, characters, areas, and so on. I liked Xenoblade Chronicles 2 so much that I played the game 4 times and still enjoy every minute of all of my playthroughs. Well, almost every minute. So I thought it would be a good idea to rank all 10 chapters in the game. Now, this is my personal opinion, and it may differ from your opinion or your grandmother. Me? If you like this type of content, I also made a video before where I ranked all areas of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which you can find in the description. Now, to begin, at number 10 we have Chapter 1, Encounters. The story begins with chapter 1 named Encounters. This chapter starts with Rex, who's on the back of Gramps' salvage, leading to a tutorial fight. And the tutorial is predictably bad. After a 10-minute cutscene, we arrive at Argentum, our first area, where Bana has a secret mission for us. Bana is of course as quiet as can be, but we'll just let it happen because the reward is 100,000 gold.
100,000!
And yeah, this is where the problem started. The tutorial. Chapter 1 is a great start as long as you skip the tutorials. The tutorials in this game make no sense and are some of the worst tutorials I've ever seen in a game. Fortunately, they did improve that in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, but besides the tutorials, this was a great chapter. We had the epic battle against Malos and this part. Number 9, Chapter 4, The Aegis. As I said in my area ranking video, which is in the description, you need to watch it. This chapter feels like a filler to me. It doesn't really fit into the overall picture and feels like it doesn't belong to the other chapters. However, More Ardain was a very sick area where I experienced many fun and nostalgic moments. The story was okay, not that special. This Lila fight made me rage so much that I had a burnout for 2 whole months, but otherwise it's not such a special chapter. And we got the scene of Mifra. Oh! Number 8, we got Chapter 5, Masters and Slaves. So fucking much is happening in this chapter. You go to 3 different areas, they are all fun areas, but in most chapters there's only one area where you are stuck for the entire chapter, and now there are 3. I also think that this chapter introduces too many new characters, so I had to think for a moment who had what role and who did what. I do really like the opening cutscene. It is one of my favorite opening cutscenes from any chapter, with Laura and Adam. And of course, Leferian Archipelago is just a dream, so that made this chapter pretty good after all. Number 7, Chapter 9, Rain. This chapter actually felt more like kind of boss rush chapter or something. That is just my personal opinion. You are making your way to Elysium when you suddenly get a battle against Jin, followed by an Amalthus battle. This chapter also felt like one of the shortest chapters because I think it is. However, we got sensational cutscenes for this chapter, and unfortunately my girl Petroka's death. If it wasn't for the Amalthus clutch that allowed you to kill Amalthus in 30 seconds, this chapter was most likely lit. Number 6, we got Chapter 2, Aptitude. This is so biased, but I don't really care. From now on, we will start with the top tier chapters in my opinion. This chapter is so much fun in my opinion. Of course, it is a bit biased because my favorite character is Nia, and she played a huge role in this chapter. But chapter 2 is just a lot of fun. The wanted poster, Bridget's encounter, the maid outfits with Tora, Poppy's awakening, rescuing Nia and Dromark, the Morak fight. Oh my god, the Morak fight. This chapter is just so packed with fun stuff and cutscenes, which just made this chapter a lot of fun to progress through. Except this guy. I didn't really like this guy. At number 5 we got chapter 8, the World Tree. This area is the cherry on top. Mwah. I think Land of Morafa is one of the coolest areas, and I also think it's cool that everyone is split, and the further you progress with the main story, you get everyone back. You can play as Jin in this chapter, which I was happy with because I thought he was a cool villain in the whole game, unlike this guy. Also, the World Tree is really cool. The area is very beautiful, but I didn't expect anything else. And the music is so good, but didn't expect other. It's also the chapter where you can no longer enter the in-the-line Praetorium. So if you still have side quests, do them in advance because you can't do them ever again if you progress through the main story. Number 4, we got chapter 6, Wounds. This chapter is so fucking good. This chapter has too many highlights, so I can name them all, but of course the biggest highlight was the end of the chapter. The Torna battle was very intense and insane. This chapter is just so good. The area is good, the music is one of the best songs in the game. This chapter is simply phenomenal. I was so scared when you had to go back to the battleship that we met this guy again. But he was just dead, of course. So, yeah. Can we get an F in the chat? Of course not! Because it is this guy! At number 3, chapter 3, Our Own War. Is it shocking? Well, no, not really. I just have a huge soft spot in Kingdom of Urea and this whole chapter in general. There's just so much going on in chapter 3. You meet Van Damme and Rock and enter perhaps the most aesthetically pleasing areas in the entire game. This chapter highlight was the final battle. The epic battle against Malus and Echoes was quite difficult in my first playthrough, but when it seems like nothing more can be done and Malus would win, Van Damme sacrifices himself and Mithra emerges from her deep sleep as another form of Pyra. If it were about nostalgia, this chapter would have been number 1, but still a well-deserved place 3 as a chapter. At number 2 we got chapter 7, The Fear She Carries. This chapter is just chef's kiss, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10, I don't really care. Chapter 7 is all about saving Pyra and getting the third Aegis sword, which can be found in the deepest point of Spirit Crucible Elvis. Once there, Rex and the others must fight clones of Adam. To talk a little bit about this battle, the battle sucked. After the battle we got Nia's awakening as a blade, that has been hinted at since chapter 4 in the hot spring scene. Then we reach Cliffs of Morpha. My least favorite area, but it is a really aesthetical pleasing area. But you need to see my ranking of the areas if you want to know why this is my least favorite area. Where we get the intense battle against Melos and Jin. Whew! It was intense, and the reveal of the last form of Pyra and Mithra called Numa. Spirit Crucible Elvis is also such a nice but also very aesthetically pleasing area. And now, on number 1, we got the ending. Chapter 10, This Boy Met Girl. This chapter, bro, it's just so good. This is of course the very last chapter of the game, and I think that's why it has a bit of a special place in my heart. You finally reach Elysium after 10 whole chapters, and it fucking looks like dog shit. Also in this chapter are the emotional encounters against Nia, Morek, Zeke and Tora, and of course the final boss of the game, Ion. But why is this such a good chapter, you ask? It's purely because of just the emotions I felt throughout this chapter. I was one moment happy, and then I was sad, and I was confused, and then I was excited. I felt all these emotions at least once in this chapter. And then I haven't even mentioned the ending. Oh my god. The ending was so sad but so good. It's just for me 100 out of 10 to finish this masterpiece of a game. That was my ranking of all 10 chapters from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm very curious about your ranking, so be sure to put it in the comment section. I want to thank you so much for watching this video and hope you liked it. Subscribe to the channel, it helps me a lot. And until next time, goodbye.